Good evening. My name is Valerie Ireland. I teach at Jack Hulland Elementary. This year I've had the fortunate opportunity to be 0.7 phys ed and 0.3 curriculum support. So this was a position created by my administrator where I jumped into my passion of ADST. So my spiral was about meeting the needs of 21st century learners in our school. So I began my scan with the 4 questions. And quickly in talking to the children who were all talking about, STEM or destination imagination and technology and all these ADST kind of tech concepts, I realized that, who are these kids and where did they come from? Because all of a sudden, they're not from the 1980s like I am. So I kind of rescanned and looked at the teachers as the learners instead of just the students as being the learners. And so what I came from my focus is that we're out of balance. The students and the teachers are not speaking the same language. We're attempting to speak 21st century learning, but the children are so much farther ahead of where we are. And going into a class and doing coding or doing all these things that I do, quite often, I will give them the tools and they will surpass me quite quickly. That's not a truth to me. That's my pitch. My hunch, what's leading to this situation? So teacher frustration. We have a growing school. There's a lack of accessibility and resources that needs to be addressed. A misinterpretation of what ADST is. A lot of people it's not a priority, experience time, I'm on my way out, it's too hard. And the students are just craving this technology. They're wanting the ADST, especially the tech ed part. So what was manageable within my 0.3? I took on an ADST focus that was very non-tech in the design thinking, making ADST visible and chunking my time to make it as useful as I could. Developing students to be the experts like I did with the 3D printers, so now teachers can go to those experts to get help. Little kids can go to the bigger kids to get help. And so I became a design thinking cheerleader. I told Mike this morning that I was going to use the used car salesman, but got told that was not okay. So I became a cheerleader instead. So what do we need to learn? So ADST is so much more than technology. Even though the T is the technology, there's the applied design and skills. And the design thinking is so important. So I dove in and I did a lot of design thinking stuff. I don't have time to show my roller coaster picture in the 3 minutes. Sorry, Mike. So I found that there is a big desire to put a one-size-fits-all into design thinking, where the roles of the children in the class and the level of the class and your audience, you really have to fine-tune your design thinking to meet different classes and where they're at. So to be flexible enough to put forward the right design approach. So I took action with a bunch of really awesome teachers, the ones where I knocked on the door and they didn't close it on me. So the ones that were welcoming the cheerleader into their classroom, I did some coding, destination imagination pilot, so a bunch of different things. Up here is the 3D printer project that we did with the Southern Shoshone teacher. It worked out really well. Lots of really great projects, a lot of gradual release, hopefully getting that teacher learning so that we can kind of start to right the ship in the balance. But talking with my 10-year-old, we're way far behind. So they're speaking a different language, checking, did we make some difference? Yep. So students and teachers are more aware, they're more interested in ADST. I can do that by going through my 4 questions with them again. But did we make enough of a difference? Of course not. So this is 2 years into my spiral, and these things take time. So there are many constraints. The magic 450 MacBooks are not going to fall from the sky. We've got 28 laptops for almost 400 kids. So we've got a lot of work to do to address the constraints. So, like I like to mention to Mrs. Peterson a lot, complaining about a problem without posing a solution is called whining, and we don't want to do that. So when life gives you lemons, what are you going to do about it? So next year, I am going to be a better cheerleader for getting a PLC going. So getting more of a network, because a spiral of one is kind of lonely, although I'm a great listener to myself. So addressing the idea that a learning commons at Jack Hulland is a great idea. So kind of making a central hub for technology. So these are some directions that I think we need to go to be able to right that balance. And better organization and accessibility of what we already have. Stop your whining. You don't have enough devices. What are you going to do with the devices you have? Keep promoting ADST and design thinking and keeping it visible. Lots of hallway displays and getting it out there. So the teachers that are reluctant, which unfortunately there are more than I'd want, resistant to that change, will see, hey, that's kind of cool. Maybe we can do this. Advocate for specialist positions for ADST and tech ed, project-based learning and inquiry-based learning. Every teacher I worked with this year said, I wouldn't have done this alone, I couldn't have done this alone. So it has to be that team aspect. So I'll sucker them into my PLC next year. And change what's within my control. I don't have the purse strings, I'm just the teacher, right? But change what I can control, and that's most of what I can control is on the doors that are open that let me in, and and working with the kids and celebrate what we do have. And next, continuing on with my spiral for next year, continue with my professional learning, especially my Apple Teacher program and coding learning that I'm doing. So it was very fortunate that my principal made up this position for this year. I certainly hope to continue it in the future, but I'd also like to pay a special thanks to Mike for leading the crew, because right now, even though I'm a spiral of one at my school, our learning network has been fabulous for collaboration and sharing, and I hope to continue that in next year. Thanks.